Hello, Sean Persinger here, back with another installment of songs I wish I could play faster. I'm going to jump in, play this piece, then I'm going to talk about the series in general, what you can expect in the coming weeks. It's pretty broad. And then I will specifically talk about this song, which is Stratosphere Boogie, Jimmy Bryant, Speedy West, 1954, 137 beats per minute. I can only do 10% of that. It's 123. I'm going to risk it and try 124. And wish me luck. All right. I wish I could play that faster. I really do. I know maybe for some of you it seems quite fast, but to me it's disappointing. I used to be able to play faster. And you know what? If I practiced a little bit more, I had a full band, I was on stage, I probably could get it up a few clicks, but I'm not getting to 137. I just know that's not the case. So let's talk about this series. This series is going to cover a lot of different styles and a lot of different attacks, because when I say fast, what does that mean? Now that was the 16th notes or 8th notes, depending on how you're counting it. And I was picking almost every note except for the hammer-ons and pull-offs, which are triplets, by the way. So instead of playing two notes in a second, I'm playing 3 notes in a second. Future series will also talk about hammer-ons and pull-offs in general, playing longer slurred lines. And then finally, I'll get to this idea that you can do combinations and bursts. Look, speed isn't just one thing. It's many, many different things. It's many different types of contexts. And for me, personally, I like some small bursts of speed. I don't need endless amount of notes of speed. That's not interesting to me personally. I like things that are rhythmically interesting, and generally speaking, if things are just a running bunch of 8th notes or 16th notes, it's hard for me to get excited about that. Though Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, there's someone that I'm going to talk about in the future where they managed to do some unusual combination of notes, and thus it's not just the challenge of the speed, but it's the challenge of the fingering that goes on the fretboard. We're also going to be talking about tremolo picking. We're going to be talking about combinations of slurs and that's hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides, and picking extremely fast but controlled. So that's what you can expect in the future. And by the way, just some future topics are Uli John Roth from the Scorpions. I will be talking about Steve Vai. I will be talking about Mike Keneally and Frank Zappa in general. Mike Keneally coming from Frank Zappa's band. A lot of topics I'm going to cover. So last week I did 21st Century Schizoid Man, Robert Fripp, and how that part was so hard to play, and I can only do that 10%. And I've tried and I've worked on it in different contexts. People were very nice online. I posted this video last week and got a lot of really positive response. People sharing some websites that I should go check out, or rather even other YouTubers, and I'm going to do that. Over the course of the series, I'm going to see if, looking at a few of the bigger names who talk about right-hand picking, if that will improve. The problem is, I've done a lot of these before, and look, part of it is I do practice a lot, but I probably don't practice enough because I'm interested in a lot of different types of styles of music. And so unless you're focused 100% on speed, which to me is fairly limited, you aren't going to get much faster than I'm getting. That said, I do appreciate all the positive comments. Almost everything, the feedback I've gotten has been very positive. And while this series is really just based on songs that I like that I wish I could play faster, I'm hoping that some of the techniques I will talk about will be of use. So let's jump into this piece. Now here's the irony. There's a lot of exercises that talk about doing this as an exercise. But that's not music, that's an exercise. So why would you practice something that isn't going to have musical context? Well, as it turns out, the irony about Stratosphere Boogie is it literally starts with this chromatic. And there's a lot of chromaticism in it. And you'd think being just straight up or straight down, it would be easy, but that's not all the piece is, all right? So let me play through this slowly. Now, before I continue, I need to point out That's Jimmy Bryant on a 12-string guitar, the 12-string tuned in thirds. So you're hearing harmony guitars? That's not two different guitars. That's Jimmy Bryant playing one 12-string guitar at 137 beats per minute. That is what I think of as the harmony, the melody, and the thirds on top are the harmony that Jimmy Bryant. That is my specific arrangement. You can find a tablature in a Hal Leonard book on that chart, but it shows both parts and it's not the fingering that I use. So, besides the straight up and down chromatic, there's more challenges, such as that's one note per string, two notes on the high string, very, very fast. Now, some people will say you could sweep pick that, which you could, but I like the click. The sweep doesn't do it for me. That's another thing, talking about speed. We're not just talking about speed, we're talking about tone, and what tone do you like? There's a lot of people who talk about turning the pick slightly slanted so that it's smooth. Famously, Eric Johnson doing these smooth up picks. That's great, and if you enjoy that sound, that's fantastic. For me, that's not what I'm looking for. I like the click. So, when we're talking about speed, and I'm talking to you, all of you who are trying to get faster, there are different approaches, and some of them will get you faster, but you will have to modify your tone. And if you're not interested in modifying your tone, you might not get faster, all right? So this is everything about speed. Context, context, context. Now, if I wanted to get that thwack and a little bit brighter, I could change it on the amp. I'm not gonna go into the details about tone and amps, but there's a lot that you can do with your guitar in your hands, but the amps and the effects, these are also useful to you. And they actually can help you to play a little bit faster. If you've got an inspired tone, especially a shred metal tone, you can do things that are different than if you have a clean electric guitar or a clean acoustic guitar. I'm not even gonna get into string gauges, etc. So, with that, Jimmy Bryant, Speedy West, 137 beats originally. I'm doing 124, 10% slower. I'd like to think that if I performed that live in front of an audience, then an audience would think that was great. And no one in the audience is going to say, boy, I wish that was 10% faster or 5% faster. They might even think, boy, I'd like to hear that slower so I could hear all of the notes. They go by so quickly and poof, they're gone. One last thing about this particular piece, I only played the melody once because in addition to speed and playing things fast is endurance. Look, almost anybody can play something really fast for 4 notes. But to do that for 136 notes, that's very, very different. So I'd like to get feedback from those of you who are watching, specific questions. I'm hoping we can keep this friendly with the understanding that I'm 100% here to help. I would also tell you, I'm 100% here to feed my ego and get a few songs out that I've been playing for years that I wish I could play faster, but I'm also trying to document those that 10% slower is good enough for me. With that, thank you so much. I will be back next week with another song in the series and with a few more details. And please, if you have questions and specifics or tips, I'm happy to hear that. I will respond to all the questions and comments. Thank you so much for watching.